all, Chaos photographed you. Let's get into some posts from AskReddit. What is the worst movie you've ever seen? Cats. Yeah, Cats, from what I've heard from my sister, it was a mess. Battlefield Earth. I'm not even sure how it got a 3% in Rotten Tomatoes. John Travolta's worst movie, and that's really saying something. I've never heard of this movie, Oh John Travolta, in my life, so I'm just gonna take the word for it and never see it. College. It came out when I was an idiot college student, so I was definitely in the target audience for a straight-to-DVD movie. Advertised and late-night MTV that I tuned in, but I couldn't sit through it in either of my two attempts to watch it. Oh, again. Was so fucking boring. During that film, I stayed through the whole film. It was Christmas Day and my first year living alone in Phoenix, Arizona, after moving from New York earlier that year. No other plans, no family, no friends to be with that day, so I stayed, and I was glad when it ended. It's a long one, so brace yourselves. Alright, 1942, Conquest of Paradise, starring Gerald Depardieu? Sorry for butchering that. 1992, 2 hours, 25 minutes. I nearly started right in the theater. Gerald Depardieu was a French man playing an Italian sailing through Spain, but speaking English with a thick French accent while mispronouncing Spanish names and words so badly that it was somewhere between farce and a hate crime. While mostly forgettable, there was an intermediate montage of a Spanish building, church in the New World. The climax is them making a bell and holding it up to the top of the bell tower. Columbus, French Depardieu, was encouraging the men by shouting, "Hey-o! Hero!" or whatever, and over again. Not exactly inspiring dialogue, but probably fine on paper. On film, however, Depardieu's accent was so comedical. Yo, over and over again. The entire movie was so awful and so long that the audience audibly groaned throughout it. Several people even stormed out, announcing their departure with obscenities and tossed buckets of popcorn. But it gets better. Oh, worse. There was a scene where Columbus and his forces rushed down to a river to fight with the Native Americans. Finally, at long last, was the beautiful, merciful climax of the movie. As the forces met in the water, flames everywhere, then blinding white light followed by blackness. What a weird and abstract ending. Everyone was probably confused and began to break out into discussing groups. What did we see? Were the flames symbolic of something? Genocide? Nuclear war? It did look a bit like an H-bomb. Someone said had caught fire. Finally, something that made sense. The projector committed suicide. The employee explained it would be another 20 to 30 minutes before they could resume the film. The audience grumbled and groaned. I was a punk college kid who definitely did not want to wait another minute or turn to see the ending. I said, "We want our money back!" I thought I was being funny, but the crowd responded with cheers and angry shouts of approval. And just like that, it seemed the crowd was transformed into an angry mob. Oops. I wonder, do people go to prison for inciting riots? The poor theater employee rushed out. Then, back in a few minutes later, he announced nervously, "Okay, we're gonna refund your money, and I give you a voucher for a free movie. Just please don't break anything." The mob seemed satisfied with the offer and left without causing trouble, and no important lessons were learned by me. That was a wild fucking story, holy shit. People who have walked out of a job, what's the story? Not exactly walking out, but I had the same effect for the manager. Working retail, the manager was a bully. 2 weeks' notice was all that was legally required. My manager took the same 2 weeks off for annual leave every year. I went in on my off day, the day before their 2 weeks leave, and I gave my notice. I also had 2 weeks paid annual leave to take, which I filed ahead of time. Best notice period of my life. It was a college job for college pay, but the college students took care of most IT issues or upgrades, deploying software, building software packages to get deployed. Fuck Adobe. Freaking dependent problems, physical changing out, computer labs with 100 plus new PCs, or like 14 Macs in one room. They groomed me to take over the wireless support lead. It was basically just me leading the support team over all 3 campuses, like I was already second in command. It was just me and my co-workers running it. There wasn't a floater for service. I was told I'd be moving into a co-worker's position after he graduated. Well, I came back into the main hardware office one day and see a co-worker that was pre-med, only worked in tech for 6 months, and not knowledgeable. But I asked my boss, what the fuck? And he told me they decided to go with someone else, but I have to train him for the position I already did. The promotion was, I was promised. I gave my 2 weeks resignation on the spot. Boss asked me to do add the knowledge to a base wiki, everything that I knew. I used a personal computer for 2 weeks and put everything into text edit. When questions, I just said I was more comfortable with HTML writing that way. And day 14, I looked at my boss, deleted the file, and left. Beautiful. I waited tables the summer before I started college. When school started, I told them I was going to take 3 weeks off to get my school schedule figured out so I could see how much time I was going to need for studying. Then let them know how many shifts I could pick up every week. I didn't particularly want to go back to work there. It was a half-hour drive away and I never made much money anyways. I pick up 4 shifts my first week back on a Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Night and opening Sunday morning. The Tuesday, Thursday was slow, only made about $50 each shift. The Friday, everything went wrong. Bad tables, low tips, messed up orders, but the cherry on top was I brought food out to a table, and roach crawled out of the food and spread it across the table, followed by the line. I brought food to a booth 2 steps away from that. Presumably, the same roach, spinning from the wall across the table to the food I had just sat down. Both times I had to get the manager to camp the tabs in the system, so I didn't have to pay them out of my pocket. Usually the manager was tight ass and I'd have to argue with them for a bit of any kind camp going in the system. But both times he didn't say one word about it and it just immediately zeroed the tabs. I didn't say another word to anyone. I worked with the whole night. I finished my shift, cleaned my booth, swept my section's floor, ward 77 resets, closed out my tabs, left, and never came back. On my opening Sunday shift, I had a no-call / no-sode, which is generally considered a dick move since you're supposed to be the one in the manager prep all drink machines, fill the ice buckets, and various shit. This person was always calling if you were more than 2 minutes late. They never called my ass for showing up. I guess that all the managers saw the 1,000 years stare on my face when I was walking out Friday night, and I just knew I wasn't coming back. I never ever went back to pick up my last paycheck. A fucking roach came out of food? I'm glad OP went out, since this place seems dangerous. Damn. Well, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, guys. Like, subscribe, guys, and goodbye!